Hi everyone, I'm Scarlett, the Vice President Welfare. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my priorities for this year. So, having been a student here for 4 years, one of my biggest problems around accommodation was finding private rented accommodation. I don't know if you've seen the university website page, but it pretty much just refers students to StudentPad. There's no guidance on where you should look, roughly how much you should be paying, and we don't actually know that the landlords on that site are vetted or that they're not going to take students for a ride. So far this year I've been working on researching into if there are any London housing schemes that specifically look after students, make sure they've got appropriate rights, and also help students in the cases where they are being targeted by rogue landlords. So far, I've been looking at other universities and kind of what they do, looking at their websites for inspiration, and I think one of the first steps we need to take is more information on our own university page. Just a little bit about housing rights, and as I said, what you should be paying per month and what you should expect from a landlord and what they should expect from you. Our advice service does have a mini booklet on their website. However, as not all students know about that, it'd be better if the university actually have that on their own website themselves. As well as working to identify what rights and information students are actually given from the university, I'm trying to support international and EU students this year by moving towards a UK-based guarantor scheme run by the university. A lot of international and EU students can't rent privately due to the fact they don't have a UK-based guarantor. Many universities such as King's, LSE and Goldsmiths have moved towards the university becoming the guarantor for the students. I'd like to see this at Greenwich, and I'm working on researching into what other universities offer and how we can reflect that ourselves. Hopefully that should be something students will be seeing by this time next year. This year I'm working on improving the service that's provided in university halls. Students are paying competitive prices, but are you actually getting the level of service that you deserve? For example, a lot of students complain about the deposits that are held at the end of the year, with ridiculous amounts being charged for things like broken freezer drawers or a little scratch on the wall. I'm trying to work with accommodation at the university to remove these costs and potentially freeze the hall costs in the future. One of the big wins we've had so far this year is to move the Friday morning fire alarms. It might seem trivial and not that important, but for some students the difference between having to wake up at 9 AM on a Friday morning or be disturbed on a Wednesday afternoon is huge, especially those on placement who maybe just got in, have just got to sleep, and then they're being woken up by fire alarm testing. This year I'm working on ways that we can end the stigma surrounding mental health for awareness campaigns throughout the year, and particularly during December, which is Disability History Month, and January, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. The ways in which I want to do this is through things like Time to Change champions, empowering students to become champions and allowing them to go out and speak to other students about their own experiences. What this provides is a way that students in the future know where they can turn for help, and also those that have been through problems themselves feel that they have a support team behind them made up of other students, and this should help end the stigma and also get people just talking around the subject a lot more. As well as working on awareness around mental health, I felt it was important to improve the services we offer. We've currently just affiliated to the Nightline service, which is a Listen Here service. It runs from 6 PM till 8 in the morning, and it means that students have an out-of-hours service that they can access once all the university services are closed. As well as this term we saw our first World Mental Health Day campaign run by both staff and students. We had stalls in Stockwell Street and in the Dome. It was a huge success, and we had students actually out campaigning as well as staff at the university. As well as things such as Mental Health Awareness Month, it's important that we empower students who have specific needs and celebrate their differences and achievements over the years. Some examples include Black History Month, LGBT+ History Month, Women's History Month, and the list goes on. I want to make sure that across this year there's a chance to celebrate diversity in every month. We've got a calendar set out for the whole year that should include every type of student you can imagine. And I'm working with other students to make sure they're leading these campaigns and that there's something going on across all 3 campuses throughout the year. So, in the past I've seen many campaigns run by sabbatical officers and the Students' Union itself. The one thing I've always thought has been lacking is actual students behind the campaign. This year I'm making sure that with all the Liberation Months and all the campaigns I'm running, there are loads of students behind them with their ideas being brought through, using their skills, and all of those things help build a campaign. If you were walking through the library and another student approaches you about something, you're probably more likely to listen to it than someone in a uniform. So this year I'm making sure that everything I do includes students. So this term we saw the launch of our Free Period campaign, which was worked on by myself and our part-time women's officer, Amber, who is a student herself, and we had loads of student volunteers getting involved in it. We managed to give out 1,000 free bags, get students signed up for the next term's batch of free period days, and it's generally just got students talking about the subject. This all links into how I want campaigns to be run and led by students. Working with Amber gave me insight into when the times in the library were busy, what would be the best way to communicate to students, and having student volunteers on the ground meant that there's more students passionate about the subject, and therefore it reaches a wider audience. So in term 1 we've managed to achieve a few wins that should help the welfare services for students at the University of Greenwich. These include affiliation to the Nightline service, as I explained earlier. It provides an out-of-hours service for students that wasn't there before. Still on the topic of mental health awareness, we're looking to sign the Time to Change pledge in February. We've seen a reduction in the cost of the Medway bus, the Free Period campaign, which allows students free sanitary products all year round in student union toilets, and a sexual health campaign around chlamydia screening that allows students paid incentives for the screenings that they do up until March. Thanks for listening, guys. If you've got any questions or any ideas, feel free to let me know. Have a good year.